So you shared your Behance link with us, right?
Yeah,
I'll just share that screen. Let me know once it's visible.
yeah, yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So there are like lots of projects here. Like any one of these projects you would like to start with first?
I'll start with the first one only, with the book. Yeah,
The same coffee book you mentioned when we met?
yeah, yeah, it's the same coffee book I mentioned.
All right. ठीक है. Do you wanna like give me a brief about like why exactly this coffee table book thought came, or was it like a assignment, and why you chose this particular topic?
Right. So first of all, it was more of like the module was designed for print,
Hmm.
and we were given an option between a magazine and a coffee table book. So in our previous modules, our class had done magazines, or even I had done a magazine. So I was trying to do something new, so I could get better guidance on what to achieve. So the brief was that we needed to pick someone who was a creative. It can be a designer, artist, photographer, anything we want, and it can be people or agencies as well. So then I kind of narrowed my own brief down to November, which is a type foundry. So that was my initial idea of choosing this topic.
Okay. And also, like, are you aware of the difference between magazine and coffee table book?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to articulate it properly, but even visually, I think it differs a lot. A coffee
Hmm.
table book and a magazine. Even the purpose is completely different in regards to the target audience as well, or on what occasions it is used or it is seen. Even I think definitely all of the like design decisions that we make, like as simple as layout, would change from a magazine to a coffee table book.
Yeah.
So,
So when it comes to magazine, like it is usually made for the mass production. But
right,
coffee table books are made in like, smaller quantity or based on
right,
where they want to have the publication. So one thing in the coffee table is like in the magazine you have seen like many fonts, many thing that is going on. Though it still look a bit consistent and it looks like it belongs to one magazine, there is a particular style that is followed.
right.
And various different layouts based on what kind of content it is. But when it
Hmm.
comes to coffee table book, we have to, keep the storytelling going from the start to till the end.
Right.
Coffee table book is something that is based on only one topic or maybe one concept.
Right.
Whereas magazine, if it is a fashion magazine, there will be like a collection, then
Right.
the collection, what like there.
Category would be the same, right? But you'll have multiple subjects.
Yes, definitely. So in the coffee table book, if you look at it here, so if I am not aware of what November type or that studio is,
Yeah.
something that I would really like is it is communicating that this is something. Like, this is some studio that you're talking about, or it is inspired by their work, or you're trying
Yeah.
to talk about the studio. So
Hmm.
that I feel is, something that feels missing in the front, like a cover page.
Okay.
It might come across as, we have a series of January type, February type, then March type. So
Okay.
that communication I felt could be improved in the title itself. If you want
Right.
to
Okay.
talk about the studio itself, or have an introduction page inside that
Hmm.
gives more clarity on the two designers that are there in the November type, right? Their introduction and how they started, like the introduction page right after the
Hmm.
title. So that
Okay.
is one setting up the context of coffee table book that felt
Hmm.
missing because you have added preface, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I felt like that studio context is missing till we reach certain point. So that,
Okay. Have you read the preface?
yeah, I have.
Okay.
But like for example, on the coffee table, there are a couple of books. What will make
Hmm.
you actually, pick it up and read? So you'll need to know what exactly it is about. November type. If I'm interested in type, I would definitely. But if I
Hmm.
want to learn more about this particular studio or their work, that
Hmm.
context would definitely help me go and pick it up.
Okay.
That context can be communicating through the title itself is what I feel.
Okay.
Apart from that, like I really like how you're experimenting with all the different colors and different layouts and everything. The title itself is very catchy. The title.
I had one thing to add actually. The original point of it was for people who are into like my for the assignment itself. My considered target audience was people from my university
Okay.
as it.
Mhm.
And the thing was ki the entire target audience would be directed to design students, typography students, and people who are already in the industry.
Okay.
And even who know, like that is why there's one small nuance that I've added in the title page as well, that every box you see and
Hmm.
every, like in every square you'll see there's two colors, one for
Hmm.
the letter, one for the background, and every combination of those colors represents a project that they've done before.
Okay.
So if you know November Studio as a studio, which was
Hmm.
my target audience who knew, so all of them, even when they took the book, I had the book printed. So even in the college, when they took the book in hand, they can guess which project the first box is.
Okay.
So the logic was that, but I definitely get your point.
Yeah.
And if it's mass produced or even if it's in places where no, not everybody is from a design background, definitely your point is valid.
Yeah, yeah. So based on user, we definitely have to modify. And
Yeah,
this is like one of the projects you really, love. So I would like this to, get printed and kept at some places or being
yeah,
used. So if we can also think about like a larger user audiences, then
right.
tweak it a bit.
Yeah.
And also the thought process you have put behind is like, the each and
Mm.
every, single square has different kinds of projects that they have done. So it is there in your, mind. You have tried to, put that in the thought and even in the design. But somehow that's not getting communicated.
Mm.
Like, for example, me, if I'm not aware about the November type, I might not like get the overall meaning or the thought process you have put, right? And a couple of things here, like in terms of colors as well. So I went through their website as well, and they have like very bright or kind of dark and good contrast colors. So at some
Mm.
places here, I feel we could also make it more fun or playful with the colors as well.
Okay.
Apart from that, the E, like two E's you see,
Mm.
these two are in red color. So when I like take this book in my hand, first thing I'll read is two E's, not the
Okay.
whole thing, November type.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like in terms of hierarchy, also, if you see like the eye shift and everything, the colors
Mm.
play a very important role. So, if you
Mm.
wanna create a single tone of a color and then keep like different variations or color palette based on that, you can do that. So, for example, this R itself, okay, this R,
Mm.
if you compare with any other stuff, or maybe this E, or maybe
Mm.
this T, it is a bit coming to a pastel or dull kind of color palette. So this
Mm.
might not be like visible right away. So this kind of color shift is not making me read the whole thing. So that is also
Mm.
one thing that we can keep in mind.
Okay.
And with the typography, like believe me, like there is endless possibilities to, play with and everything.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
also a lot of layouts you can keep or, spacing, leading, kerning. There's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. Definitely.
And another thing I noticed is after E, my attention was going to all the white background, like question mark, exclamation mark, two slash,
Mm.
this star, because this
Mm.
is how our eye, looks into things. So red catches our eye first. Then if
Mm.
there is anything with the white background and, dark element on it, we'll see that.
Mm.
So this kind of eye shift, if you wanna have intentionally, then we can think about it. But
Mm.
if you want people to read the whole thing properly, then we can also tweak it a bit, think more on the color choices and also in terms of, what needs to be read first. So, for example,
Right.
these question marks and exclamation mark, these can be a bit muted because those are not like on a hierarchy one, right?
Okay.
Let me know if you have anything to say or, it's
No,
you have.
no, it's I agree with all of your points, and I don't have anything to say against it. But there's also been very specific design decisions behind everything that I've made here, with faculty's approvals also, step by step. So I don't think it will be valid if I just keep on explaining each and every design decision right
Mhm.
now. But I understand your points, and even if not here, those points I'll definitely remember and apply in everything else I do. So
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah. Like after all, like we are designers, so we have to understand how to communicate our thoughts.
Yeah,
So that's like a underline to everything is what I'm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if we are an artist, we have some thought process, we are putting it, and we have to either explain or let people interpret what we are trying to say. That's
Right,
a whole
right,
different shift. But when it comes to designs, even though in visual design we have, very much of a freedom, creative freedom, that's what makes designers and artists, vary from each other
right,
because we
right.
communicate.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is one point we can think of. Okay. Do we have it here somewhere? Huh. Okay. So this is the whole coffee table, no?
yeah.
Okay. Also here, if you see this particular November type that is written,
Yeah.
there's this space, the leading November type. Maybe reduce it a bit to have like a proper grouping.
Okay.
Also, this space and this space check, because before type, I guess there is one space that is left, so it might not look that it is center aligned.
Okay.
If you take a look at this space and this space, so we can also think about like such small details, because it makes like a very big difference.
Right.
Yeah. So we have these many colors. Then we started with the November type and this preface. So here you're trying to say is robo font is the
No, it's a design that the author has made.
okay.
Not the author, the designer has made Shiva himself, and again it's a reference to one of his projects. But here it is used as a background, but it makes you think what it is. I don't want to explain. That's my entire point.
Okay.
Like I want the reader to get curious about what it is and what if there's any more explanation in the book ahead.
Because since it is like since this is written in red color, it makes me
Hmm.
want to read the whole thing and it's breaking my flow in between. So if it's intentional, it's working well.
Because most of the times you'll see ki there's just a black and white introductory paragraph called preface.
Hmm.
Nobody will wait to read the preface. Most of the times you'll just skip ahead to the main pages, right? That's the entire point. Even on the left side, you'll see like basic acknowledgements or the legalities part of it, etc. You would want to read it just because of the composition of it.
Yeah.
That was the entire point, because that was the problem I was trying to solve as a designer, because you'll skip these pages
Hmm.
even at the start and at the beginning. So like if you see only this spread and the spread at the last has this kind of layouting style or this kind of yeah,
Hmm.
see, even here it's consistent from the first page, but this style is not followed in the pages in between, because there I wanted to be pretty clear about what they're reading, what is happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this dot also taken from this reference that you've added?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even it, because like you said it's a red dot, your eye tracking will go that way. You'll not read it in columns.
Yeah, because currently I like my eye tracking is going definitely, but since the copy is in blue, I'm not being able to read it. So, for example,
Yeah.
this dot makes my attention come here. If
Yeah.
I read this, it makes me want to go here. So it's just creating the flow rather than, adding that, okay, you have to read this and then this and then this. Whereas these
Yeah.
lines would have communicate that really well. And it
Hmm.
really is if you just, hide these dots.
Okay.
And I and these dots are also placed like here and there randomly, or is it like any reason behind it?
No, it's on the border of the text box. That was the only reason, but I think it should be open to interpretation,
Okay.
because I don't think that should have been very structured.
All right. So most of the things I'm seeing here is taken in terms of like, how creative you can be with this whole coffee book.
Yeah, yeah. Just I needed to get out of the box, because most of the projects that we do here, because of academic backgrounds, they're very structured in nature, and there is very particular outcomes that are expected from you. And
Okay.
here we had a fortunate opportunity of a free hand. So this was the best chance to actually see what we can come up, considering every little design decision, because usually we don't have that kind of liberty. So I am fortunate about the part where I got to learn that I can even do this kind of enlightened me about my own abilities. I did not think that I could create such an outcome before that, but I've created some other publication design projects before, but again those were creative in a very structured manner, I would have to say.
Yeah.
So I think one of it was related to like the Kutch area,
Hmm.
and there was a trip that was arranged. So it was kind of a documentation of that. But even the folk art and everything was included, but it was
Hmm.
very structured in nature. I
Yeah.
don't mean it in a layout sense. I mean it in a thought process kind of sense. But here, I genuinely wanted to push my own boundaries, because even when I drafted this preface, this looks so weird. Because who would make a preface page like that? And it's getting so difficult. It's the even the legalities part is not in a paragraph now, it's so distributed, like you'll have to switch your eye to every little part.
Yeah.
So that was completely, it seemed whack and crazy for me when I first drafted it. But even after, when I was clear, like I was clear with what I wanted to do, so I took this and what my idea was to professors all around in my college.
Mhm.
So I had their opinions on as well. Ki how would it look? What kind of impact it would make? Then I had some peer reviews, not just from the faculty's eye, but someone who actually doesn't have an idea about the book and they read it. What do they understand? Or does it creating is it creating problems for them? So this was one like outcome of that. But
Did it
you're right, it's very out of the
box?
like
Yeah.
normal way of doing things.
But
So
like showing it to them, did it help to like refine it further, or was this the final one?
no, no, it definitely helped. This is there are drafts, there are many drafts before this, and even for like compiling the information as well, like the content part as well. Ki, as a coffee table book, it's not a magazine, right? So as a coffee table book, what would you want to read if you actually get that book in your hand?
Hmm.
What would seem excess and you would want to skip? Stuff like that also I was able to figure out with the help of more reviews and all.
Okay, got it. Yeah. ठीक है. So overall, like in terms of how you explored what all things can be done, that's definitely we should have that one project where we just think wild, go wild,
Yeah,
and that's when I feel the magazines and everything really help.
yeah,
But like when it comes to the coffee table books, and I totally get like what you thought, that you tried to convey the whole thing and everything. You should also know the the part where if this coffee table book was created or designed for a client, then what their thought process would be. So
right,
that kind of
definitely,
things also be simultaneously thought of, and how you are trying to break it.
right.
Yeah, that's one thing. Apart from that, like, a couple of things in the typography side as well. For example, having this kind of orphan we usually avoid,
Yeah,
even in paragraphs, or, this kind of stuff.
yeah,
Creating a river or this. So we can also improve like these minor things to make it more look like it's made with a thought and with all the skills that we have. Same
right,
happened with the preface as well. So when I'm
right.
reading it, this is actually, creating a break, or
Yeah,
makes me wanna read the whole, like
yeah,
sign an R craft first. So if you wanna make it like a center justified, we can also do that. But here it's not even center justified. It's just center aligned, right? So design can come, in the later this thing. Or
yeah,
even like some of these lines can also be broken to make it more aligned in the
hmm,
center. All these small things also we can, improve. So overall, like what you have told me with the colors and everything, now I get your point. But if I'm reading this, I would feel like there is no consistency in
hmm,
terms of colors. So
hmm,
if I'm just shown this particular page, I won't get that this is from this coffee table book. So that
hmm,
consistency overall is necessary when we design things. But if we create a art, then that kind of connection or consistency is not required that much. So in
hmm.
terms of design, I really feel that this coffee table book has a great potential to look like a uniformed, or a single story that has been told.
Right.
Yeah. Then another thing is like, different body text sizes. So what we can do is usually when we create a magazine or even a brand or even
Hmm,
a website, we usually define like this is a H1, like headline one, title one, this is a subtext, this is a body text, this is a subtext two. So all these also can create a good consistency throughout. So
I
this
think the column size is different. The body text size is the exact same.
Okay. We can also see how visually it looks. For example, color interaction, So for example, this like blue on white may look really great, but given with this particular layout, it looks a
Hmm,
bit smaller. So how to match
hmm,
that visual eye or visual consistency, that is also
hmm,
something we can improve in terms of increasing 1 point maybe, just to
hmm.
match the whole thing. Okay, this one. So here we have a lot of colors based on the typography that they have used for individual projects, right?
Now here every color is matching the page itself.
So there are lots of colors here.
Yeah, they're according to the projects.
Hmm.
So you see the first one and
Hmm.
you see the spread below that, it's the same color.
Yeah.
You visually also relate with that directly.
But do you usually go to the index, you see colors, you go here and you come back and see was the same color?
No, but it does make an impact, is what my experience was or what my review said. But again, I think it may seem as flaws here because it is not your normal idea of what index should look like
Hmm.
or what coffee table index should look like,
Okay.
because it is completely out there and it was a completely experimental option, so it will not fit into any of the basic design rules that we have in mind. Otherwise, even if my idea was to actually do an actual design project and not such an experimental one,
Hmm.
I wouldn't even make these decisions.
Okay. So take one for an example. So experiments do really well. but there is a mode of experiment where we can, communicate things, right? So even
Hmm.
if I want to, have one poster that is communicating the wildest idea I have, how do I communicate? There are a couple of things. One is the typography. Second one is the image, the
Yeah.
subject itself, and then
Hmm.
it comes the layout, right? So
Hmm.
now, if I want to look at the index, okay, 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, 7. So these are the pages, I assume, right? Then when you read the index, the whole thing, after index, you usually read the first, like what is the first, and then I'm gonna move forward. Now, even
Yeah.
if I wanna read the first one, I don't see the topic. I only see 0, 1. Then suddenly, usually like how we count is 1, 2, 3. Now the two
Hmm.
is then I figure out, okay, these are the pages and not the counting. That is another discovery that I as a audience or a reader have done. But
Hmm.
now even if I want to read the what is the first chapter, what is the second chapter, third chapter, my eye keep on shifting to 9 or the bigger letter 1, 3, 5, 7. So what
Hmm.
is important? So I agree, like this is experimental, but what is important? What do you want to communicate? Do you want to communicate these chapter titles, or do you want to communicate the numbers?
I
So
think numbers itself.
okay, it doesn't make sense to me, to be very honest.
Even if I think it's very subjective in the nature ki you're associating it depending on colors. Some of my peer reviews associated it with direction from left to right, top to bottom,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
that is
Some
great.
of them associated with the direct bold text that is in the middle, because there is gap
Hmm.
between the number and the body text. There is a gap.
Yeah.
So many of my peers reviewed it as they see the heading, like the chapter heading first, then the numbers, then the body text. So like even if considering every type of group which is seeing first things differently, I think the most important thing the index has to convey is the page number.
Okay.
So that was the idea.
Okay. Like since this is experimental, like a lot of things are just getting slashed out, to be very honest. But as a designer, when I see
Would
things,
you prefer to take another example?
yeah, yeah, sure. Or but like overall, I feel like there is a lot of, potential in terms of how to make it more consumable. But if you want to create a like a art book or something
No,
that's based out of thought process, then this might work. But
yeah, no, I understand your logic completely, and even the reviews also I agree with. I think it would be best if we take another example, because the entire point of this was not even to have it printed later on or have it as a project I could sell maybe later. The entire point was to test my own boundaries, and even the kind of academic like syllabus and structure we have all of us are very conformed to a specific design style in our minds,
yeah.
and it was very important to me as a person in general to get out of that box, to understand I can do something different than that.
Okay. Then we can
So
talk about maybe some other project where you want
yeah,
to add it in the portfolio as a.
sure, sure.
I'm just taking a look at it like whole.
Definitely. I think it was more of like, a passion project
Mm.
where you're not exactly trying to impress anybody or make a client want to buy this,
Yeah.
but you're just trying to experiment with things. It's more of that.
Okay. Cool. Also with the type, this could have been a great, element to be added in most of the layouts. I
Hmm.
really like this curve. Also, like just one, thing that I would like to tell is usually in
Mm-hmm.
the publication, what we do is, in one line there are like maximum 6 to 7 lines to make it easy for them to, read, and
Maximum 6 to 7 what? Sorry.
6 to 7 words in a single line.
Okay.
Yeah, so that maybe we can just think of later if we are creating a paragraph that is a bit longer with 10 to 12 words. So
Hmm.
that makes a strain on the eye. So 6 words and then enter. So this is the practice that we do in the publications.
Okay.
And also, we can also keep the consistency in terms of if you want the body text to be center justified or left justified, right justified. So that
Hmm.
can also be one consistency, even though you want to break out of the creativity, try different things. But body
Hmm.
text is something that stays common, right? It is there
Hmm.
to talk about the extra stuff that we wanna convey.
Hmm.
All this stuff can also be thought of, like avoiding this kind of stuff. Like if you want to keep everything left aligned, and even if the whole text is not creating a particular rectangular shape or square shape, that also works well in the publication.
Hmm.
Is this just one of their work that you have added?
Yeah, that's all of their work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is this studio based out of?
No, I think it's based in Mumbai, but they work remotely as well because they have, like, they do a lot of foreign trips and a lot of foreign clients as well. So it's pretty remote in
Okay.
that sense.
Also, just like one opinion, that for example, this is kept left aligned, but it is kept in center. So this kind
Hmm.
of breaks the balance in the overall frame that you see. So if
Hmm.
it was kept either center aligned and in the center, it would have
Hmm.
made a great impact, I would feel. Because with this pattern, I really like how you have kept it. Yeah. We only have yellow at the end. Okay, this frame is there.
Yeah, it's the main logo of which is yellow and black.
Also, even in terms of content or what content to be put, it would have been great. Like for me, if I'm reading this, I would like to know about the November studio maybe first, and then start with their origin and how their journey has been in general. So
Hmm.
that kind of hierarchy, like content hierarchy, is also important for readers to understand the context.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Next, which project do you wanna see?
Anything is fine.
Anything that you wanna add in your portfolio?
We'll be adding, like, we'll be doing more of projects right now,
Mhm.
even personally and academically. So this entire thing will change.
Okay. But are you like inclined towards the publication or like more of a branding or any other things that you want to add more in your portfolio?
Actually, I will prefer to spend this year trying to explore
Hmm.
which one I'm more inclined towards. But currently, I am thinking of print and packaging,
Okay.
but I am open to switching it.
Do you wanna talk about this?
Yeah.
Do you like to
Okay.
drink Piyush?
Yeah, no, I actually researched it out. I knew about it, but it was more of like a discovery for me because I'd forgotten of the drink itself. So essentially, this was more of like our first, welcome at branding. Essentially, it was, we had to completely figure it out by ourselves. There was no specific guidance for it or anything, but the point was research mainly,
Hmm.
and then at the last moment we were given collaterals to do for it.
Okay.
So I had split the entire research part. The brief was to create an identity for an event where it's more of like culture preservation,
Hmm.
like how in the modern age every region is losing its own culture. So that way, I had picked the Maharashtrian area
Hmm.
where this event is trying to, have different activities which reminds the like the local people of their own culture, and people who are not from there about that culture, so
Okay.
that the even like the word of mouth continues. So then it was the entire event or activity, whatever you want to say, was split into two parts. One was Varsa Shikshan and one was Varsa Bhojan.
Okay.
Varsa essentially is heritage.
Yeah.
So the Bhojan part was like, it was pop-ups and like authentic Maharashtrian food is sold and everything. And Varsa section was more about like weekend to weekend events or activities where volunteers are coming in
Hmm.
and actually having sessions and workshops where they're teaching other people what this
Hmm.
culture is and more of creating awareness about it.
Okay.
So the first idea about, I think, could you go a little, no, just a little down towards the first mock-ups or something?
Okay. Here.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea was key, even with the poster and all, basic normal idea of a poster, that you want to just tell about the story,
Hmm.
not necessarily like first I had created a more simplified version of this, but then I had gotten a feedback key there will be a lot of local people even who know what the culture is in essence, but have forgotten about the essence of it,
Okay.
like the exact spirit of the culture. So the feedback I had gotten was most of the people who are local might not be able to actually come to the events that
Hmm.
we had researched and designed, but even reading the poster might enlighten them
Yeah.
if the poster had more content in it. So that was the poster. And could you go a little
Yeah.
down?
So
Yeah.
overall, the motif that you have used, na, this motif, even the
Huh.
Saraswati, what do we call it?
Yeah.
The
Oh my god.
Saraswati diagram.
Yeah, yeah.
So that actually connects to, the cultural touch to it.
Right, right. The another collateral was creating a zine,
Hmm.
so which was essentially targeted towards more of our parents' generations, where their experiences, even minute daily interactions, which connected them to their own heritage,
Hmm.
they're reminded of again.
Yeah.
So it was split into pages where there was one title or what, like front page, and it had 7 pages inside, which was according to each day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday type of thing, and every day connected them to a thing that they had experienced before in their past, and which was like deeply connected with the heritage itself in Maharashtra.
Did
So
you
there's examples.
did
Yeah,
you
sorry.
did you also explore on the Devanagari typography then?
I did not have time for that, but I've like manually edited some of the typography for this font so that I could adjust it towards my own collaterals.
Okay.
But the exact font you see right here is I've not created that.
Mhm.
That's a pre-made font. But there are other kind of ongoing explorations that I'm doing regarding typography.
Yeah. Like,
This is
is there any
yeah.
challenge do you face, like when it comes to, the English letters and when it comes to the typography using
Yeah, I
the design?
think what I learned about creating English letters was there were a fundamental set of letters that
Hmm.
if you create first, they help in creating the others, that other letters as well. But for Devanagari letters, you have to figure out a lot of things as you go letter by letter,
Yeah.
because it obviously differs so much in form that even the letters that look like each other, let's say per and show, look
Hmm.
similar, but when you create it, the kind of balance it needs to have in form has to be edited manually only.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit tough to grasp at first,
Hmm.
but obviously I'm exploring more. We did some Devanagari calligraphy also,
Okay.
introduction to that. But
This one.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
Did you also carve the bamboo?
yeah,
It's very interesting and fun when you start with it.
yeah, it's very
Right.
fun.
Yeah. You can
There
also.
are a lot of explorations, and even a simple tool like that, it there were so many variations of a single letter that we could create with a simple tool like that.
You can also try it with different materials, the grass
Yeah,
or the cloth. It gives like very different feel to it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Donte char banda. So, like most of these are like the older ones, right?
yeah. These are just a year ago, and the newer ones are obviously
Yeah.
last semester.
Just like something which we can do is we can leave some breathing space at the top and bottom. So it does.
Yeah, definitely. I understand that. I had a horrible experience with these mock-ups.
Yeah.
This was the first time I figured out what mock-ups was. I had no idea. So I get it. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
You also attended that printing workshop. So maybe you have like better clarity on how to
Yeah,
save money.
now true.
Yes.
Even after, unfortunately, lot of the things regarding you guys and regarding the academics I have going on are coinciding. Because
Hmm.
even immediately after this portfolio building module, we'll have packaging ka module.
Okay.
So those the print things that I heard about, even I had a session in college about it. So I'll be able to apply that in packaging.
Definitely. So this project was to build a brand or from
Yeah.
scratch, or you had given a brand and you just needed to build a style guide.
No, no. The style guide was completely a last minute thing. The entire module was about system thinking
Hmm?
and to build a brand from scratch in the idea ki how the brand would work,
Okay.
not in the sense how it looked visually. That thing was a last minute thing, which was just to have a visual tangible thing to show in juries essentially.
Okay. Okay.
But the entire point of learning for that was creating systems, creating departments, how would they work between themselves, etc., etc.
Mhm.
But coincidentally with this kind of work we found out ki branding related work needs style guides like this,
Yeah.
which was a discovery that we had later on.
Okay. Because usually when we start with the branding, we do some, competitive research. Then we also come up. So when it comes to client being involved, there's a different process. But when it comes to
Hmm.
working on a passion project or a project that is something that you want to add in your portfolio, the
Hmm.
difference is there because
Yeah.
you get more clarity from the stakeholders or clients what they want. We also
Hmm.
can define the vision, mission, and
Hmm.
also the personality based on that. Like, did you get a chance to also work on the brand personality or brand character?
Yes, we had gotten a brief regarding what kind of brand or company it needs to be. But then within that you can find niche, you can find what target audience it has, what mission vision exactly it has,
Yeah.
that we had to figure out on our own, but we couldn't make it like make it up in our minds. It was
Hmm.
not free will. You had
Yeah.
to come up with research and specific reasons why you're choosing that mission, that vision, what specific target audience. So that was the process.
So, given the whole brand look and feel that you have given, it's
Hmm.
definitely, communicating it is like a luxury brand.
Yeah.
But can you try this one thing like after the call or whenever you have time? Keep
Okay.
the same design here and just
Hmm.
reduce the whole text to 40%. Okay. And
Hmm.
see how the whole, presentation or this particular frame looks.
Okay.
So usually when it comes to luxury brands, they prefer very thin lines. Now that you
Right.
want to have like a thick lines for typography, that works because
Hmm.
based on your brand character, it also shows what your brand values are and what you're trying to communicate. The same way, the luxury, touch to it is a bit missing when it comes to the
Hmm.
presenting whole thing. So just take
Right.
text and see how the whole space and the negative space is communicating that luxury feel.
Got it. Got it.
Same also, I felt like overall here.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand.
Maybe you can also give this as a title here and start with this because our brand, just this, is not adding that kind of value to overall this. And also, R and A, like, is it intentional? If it is, then maybe we can tweak the A to this curve a bit.
Right. 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 Okay. Yes.
Here also, like, overall, the size is a bit bigger. If you reduce,
Hmm.
it will really give that crisp luxury or, that polished look and feel to the whole presentation, I feel.
Right. Right. Okay.
We can also keep, such briefs as short as possible. It should be
Hmm.
clear and direct. So this
Hmm.
actually helps people to actually like go through it, read what exactly was the, thought behind it. So if I
Right.
see this particular paragraph, I might just scroll and I would never
Hmm.
know what was the thought behind it. This visual is also good. And this is also like standing out really well. Was this the pictogram you designed for Epicuria?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think like this pictogram is creating a good balance
No, it needs to be much better than this. This is horrible.
because it just looks like two elements are just connected to each other. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
definitely have.
I agree with you.
Also, you can think if you want a pictogram.
Just a second. Could you
Yeah,
give me a minute?
yeah, yeah.
Hi Sakshi,
Hello.
how's it going?
Okay.
Acha, acha, I really learned
You are
I really learned many things like in terms of so yeah,
definitely different way to approach.
yeah. I'll try एक एक way I'm trying to figure out ताकि I can figure out if I have to get into visual or completely into UX. So yeah.
Am I sharing my whole screen?
Yeah, you. नहीं, I guess it's the tab only, the window ही है बस,
Okay, okay.
not your whole screen.
Are you back in Ahmedabad?
Yes, yes. I came today. Then नहीं. I'm in the office only.
Oh, nice.
So actually, I shifted to Zoom because it's like a way lot better than Google Meet. So yeah, it's like recording and everything and for the two things we can get a particular speaker ka audio. So then
Hmm.
anything. So that's why I just thought here only and we'll get proper version of recordings.
Recording quality भी better है हाँ.
Yeah, quality is also good. Even the voice quality, the audio quality is really good. Abhi, I also like before starting, I was exploring out what other things like Zoom can do. So actually, we can also get individual persons, the speakers' audio as well.
Okay. Oh, nice. Quality content.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So I was saying ki, like you can take a call, like since you are the stakeholder here, what approach would you like pictogram, monogram, word mark? So that is
Yeah.
another thing that you can also, explore, see what
Hmm.
works in this particular industry. That gives a
Hmm.
great, possibility or opportunity for you. Go ahead
Hmm.
with the luxury or the character.
Right.
Next, also, I feel like this brand, if you wanna refine it further, you can also the choice of a bit better. For example, this SNS, the kerning and everything is a bit not consistent throughout. So this might come off as a artistic font rather than a luxury font.
Okay.
How the overall brand looks often the difference, though that you'll get when you do the competitive research.
Right.
So all these things can also be explored a bit more if you wanna take it further.
Yeah.
Here also, like even so I see you are trying to balance the whole thing here, the colors and everything, right? So here if you are aware of that, like we read from left to right? So you have
Hmm.
also applied it in your coffee book or coffee table
Hmm.
book.
Hmm.
So here also if you would have kept it left aligned, it would have still looked a bit more balanced. If you take a look at this space here. This is still justified when it comes to this R and mission. So this
Hmm.
kind of difference is clearly visible. So as a designer, you can also take a decision on how to make it look balanced. If you want to keep the whole left align, right align, what kind of font you want to use or what kind of kerning you want to, manually add to these two S's.
Right.
So all these, minor things you can definitely think of it next time you're adding.
Okay, great.
Again, like this R and A, SS. I feel the typography sizes can be a bit better, to be very honest. Like this is a great, this is a great color palette and the great, the overall concept and all. And this can take definitely taken forward with a bit of refining here and there. The X looks like N here.
Yeah.
So we can explore some more in the typography and all. Not creating it from scratch, but whatever is available out there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of style guide, like this is good. You've added a great guideline on where to use it, how to use it, and all. You could also like how you have added this clear space around that, but somewhere it's not being followed in the layout here.
Right.
Yeah. So all these things can also be. Is this just a one use case that you have given, like adding more kerning to it?
Yeah, yeah. I think this is even we'd have to elaborate the style guide itself, where I'd have to explain ki in the layout what kind of spacing there is given, and in the above page you'd see that there's different kerning and there's
Hmm.
different maximum width just above this.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So where you would use which version and all, उसका भी detailed style guide लगेगा
Okay.
that I'll have to add.
You'll also need to add like why exactly you need to add kerning.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
this 100% width, is it not creating a scalable use case? If not, then we can add. But I feel this is good enough. We don't need to actually, create more word mark spacing because if you take a look at any logo, it never creates more kerning or leading. It is creating a good identity itself. So if you increase the spacing in between kerning and all, the
Hmm.
inconsistency it may look like, or maybe someone has messed up with the logo. So that kind of approach we usually avoid. Whatever the word mark or monogram or it may be pictogram, whatever we have defined,
Hmm.
it should be as a identity, like looked as a one. There may not be like a versions of that. If you have like a pictogram and then the word mark, then
Right.
its placement can be different. It can be side to side, up and this. So all
Hmm.
these can be defined in terms of how to use the logo, but this I feel it's not really necessary, the word
Okay.
mark spacing. Yeah, it's good that you have defined it like for print and digital what can be done. This is a great touch. Yeah, this you'll work on, you'll said. But if you need
Yeah.
any help with this and all, you can definitely get in touch or maybe let me know whenever.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the first logo that you have created
No, there were around 20, 30
okay,
versions, and this was picked
from
with
faculty.
the approval of a faculty. But I even at that point I knew ki I need to have a better choice for the pictogram, but I had to skip through this part because the entire focus of the assignment and the project was different.
Hmm.
So I, even knowing that there is a system with branding which is style guide or even brand guidelines, was a completely foreign concept.
Hmm.
So getting a hold of that concept and trying to identify what all even goes in this kind of document
Yeah.
was the learning part. So these are, at that point, these were like, extra touches. even
Hmm.
even creating a logo was an extra thing.
Okay.
So we had to skip through that process due to the deadlines and all, but I understand ki it needs to be changed.
So whenever you're designing a logo now, you can just think of this line, form follows function. So
Yeah.
whatever form you think of, what function is it, creating? Is it
Hmm.
aligning with the brand character? Is it aligning with whatever core brand values that we have defined? It's very important.
Right.
And sometimes when you keep exploring in terms of forms and all, unknowingly you can also create a meaning out of it. So that's another thing that you can think of.
Right.
Okay. But I feel like whenever you get some time, you can definitely improve on this project.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, like for example, when we have such kind of medium style used for the fonts, right? We medium or light. Okay. So we can usually increase the leading to make it a bit more breathing in the whole body text or the
Okay.
paragraph itself. So this
Okay.
would look more polished if you do that. And also font pairing, if you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, we already have this font that is very much, talking
It's a
about
display font.
yeah, yeah, display font. So
Yeah.
maybe another you can do is like sans serif, which is more in terms of how readable it is, how it's gonna look on the web as well. So that
Hmm.
font pairing you can also improve a bit. So because this is a bit hard to read and this is primary font, so this won't be used in the body text itself.
Right.
Yeah, this is also good, like proportions, like print, digital, all the color palettes guidelines. I think you're more inclined towards print for sure because you mention that every single time. Like,
Yeah, like genuinely, the main point of completely new learning and understanding was what all goes in this. Because the LMS had like all the pieces of information, even, or even the main categories that I've added in this now, was
hmm,
the complete brainstorming session for me, because I had to work through this for a couple of weeks to understand ki what all I needed to add in this. Considering a reference, we had gotten a very basic, I think, brand guideline of Burger King or something for reference, and it was very very basic, but at the end we were expected to give a lot of things. We even,
hmm,
to ensure that we don't put less stuff or like bare minimum stuff, you are given a page limit, like how many pages you need to have in that brand guideline. So I had to make sure ki even it's not just like I'm filling up the document, but I need to have some relevance of what I'm putting in it.
yeah.
So that was, I had a lot of research regarding some other different brand guidelines, style guides that I've seen about different brands, even brands that I didn't know about. So I had figured out individually ki, okay, at least to start with, what all things that I need to include. Even my personal, not academically, but my personal goal was to have like a template. Like
Hmm,
this document now would act as a template when I would want to make another brand guideline for another brand. So
yeah.
I would at least know ki what all goes in this. I don't
Hmm,
have to start from scratch then. So I added all of this information based on that.
hmm,
I need a feedback regarding if it is too much or if it
hmm,
is too little, regarding even like basic branding projects. If you see what
hmm,
kind of information I need to add or which I could exclude from here. And I'm not saying ki it has to be the same size as this one.
hmm,
Sometimes for specific brand guidelines, they need to be very in like thorough and
yeah.
very extended, right? So
Hmm,
there, all obviously this content would be expanded. Even
yeah.
at times it would be shown visually. So that I understand. But when you have basic brands and like moderate amount of brand guidelines you have to make, it's
Hmm,
not very in depth.
yeah.
So in that scenario, how much in depth do we actually go? Like what all do you skip?
So usually it depends on, for example, you're working for a client. Okay.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
is the scope of that particular project? Do they want, the initial research we do? Do they want setting up the brand? For example, we'll do the call with stakeholders to understand what is their vision. And based on
See,
that,
I have a doubt. I like, obviously when I have a client or when it's a freelance project, that will obviously be cleared.
Mhm.
But currently, I would have to come up with a lot of hypothetical briefs for personal projects. So I have a couple of briefs regarding branding, but for even creating brand guidelines for those,
Yeah.
I want to create the ones which are like the optimum version,
Hmm.
not too short, not too long kind of version.
Okay.
So when it's hypothetical, like when you're completely creating the project by yourself, so that you have, you understand more things, and you eventually, if it works out well, you can put it in a portfolio,
Yeah, yeah.
things like that. For that reason, what do I exclude out of this, or what do I add in this?
Okay. So couple of things. First, when you are designing one project, you are the stakeholder. Okay.
Right. Huh.
You define the scope of work you want to add. For example, do you want branding? Do you want the style guide? Do you
Hmm.
want a proper system for the brand system that
Hmm.
includes all the UX, UI? Later, do you want to create a website out of it? Then
Right.
only you'll add all this stuff. Okay.
Right.
If
Right.
the branding needs to be focused around identity design, you'll
Hmm.
focus more on logo, typography, and colors, and also
Okay.
defining the whole personality of that brand.
Okay.
If the brand is to be created before marketing, before we hand it out to the marketing, then we
Hmm.
define all those stuff. So for example, you had added a couple of sections. So you had added a couple of things like call to action kya hona chahiye, captions kya hone chahiye.
Right.
So
Right.
these type settings are helpful when it comes to handing over this branding project to a marketing agency or a
Right.
marketing person. So what is
Right.
the tone of that brand? Then it helps. So depending on what is the scope, you have to be your own stakeholder. Ask yourself
Right.
a question when to
Right.
stop. Because if
Right.
you want to keep on going, you can keep on going. It will never end.
Right.
So that kind of hard stop is something you have to define for yourself.
Right, right. And when, like, when you're trying this system for the first time, like being your own stakeholder and then hypothetically coming up with scope and everything,
Mhm.
so what on what basis would you categorize the scope? Like, how would you know, obviously there's endless scope and there's everything that you can add, and there's also things like bare minimum things that only you should add. So as a stakeholder, even if I'm hypothetically, let's say, a clothing brand brief I've made up and I have to work on its branding. So when I want to explore new things and create the guidelines for that, or my focus as a student is to have a visually impactful branding, right? But I also wanted to be sustainable in a portfolio, right? So how would I go about deciding the scope of it?
Right. So in your portfolio, for example, there is one section called branding. Okay. You have 2 to 3 projects in it. One
Right.
project specifically focuses on your like research phase, initial phase of the branding.
Right. Okay.
Second project might be very much focused on the identity, how you define things. And third could be around the guidelines, how detailed guideline you can create or how
Okay.
efficient
Okay.
you are in that. If you
Okay.
want to combine all of these together, then it will
Yeah.
be a very long project.
Right.
So you can decide what you want to focus on when you're presenting your thought process, your idea, or your skill set.
Right. Okay.
Like very simple example if I give, when you were a kid, you knew many different mediums to use, paint, sketch, and everything. Did
Mm.
you ever use all of them in one?
No, usually not. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you decide, okay, I want to maybe just use the crayons, just use the posters, or maybe I want to do some light sketching and then paint on it. So it's like a mix of these two. So all
Right.
these also like real life examples help you understand when we need to stop or define things.
Right, right. Okay. I had one doubt regarding this. When I'm creating the website for my portfolio right now, there is one branding project which is not on Behance right now, but it's regarding a clothing brand,
Okay.
and it's more about focusing on the identity part of it, like you said, and how you visually represent that identity. So that one project I have right now, I was thinking of kind of using this project as a second project, but
Mhm.
how would I tailor it now? Like the three things you said right now. One is identity, one is brand guideline, and what was the
Mhm.
third one? Sorry.
The typography, like in identity, to be very specific, you can explore more, and the form follows function. You can explore more on that. The pictogram, monogram, what you want to do exactly. What
Right,
actually works and make or break the brand in this industry.
right, right.
Second,
And
typography. You can definitely explore and have better luxury typographies or display fonts out there.
okay. And when you're showcasing this kind of project where you're showcasing the logo and the type and everything, there how do you make sure ki it's not just 2 3 slides where
Mhm.
it's just the logo and color and type and that's it, but you actually like you do have mock-ups, but there's always a thing where it's just a brand showcase where it's just one big slide where you've put in name and logo and color type everything and a few mock-ups. This is
Mhm.
a general like Behance style brand showcase.
Yeah.
But when you want to put it as an extensive branding cup project where you've worked on the logo and color and type and everything, and it's extensive in the way that you've approached it, and
Mhm.
now you want to put that in the website. So
Mhm.
how do you add body to that kind of presentation?
Okay. So you keep this one thing in mind, okay? Brand isn't just about the visuals.
Right.
ठीक है?
Hmm.
What made that brand actually, ठीक है? Think of it as a this, okay? So we as a body, we are brand. What
Hmm.
was the skeleton? How did this muscle came up? How does this finger looks like? How does this hand looks like? It's very important.
Right. Right.
A brand in terms of initial process and at the end result तुम कैसे आए, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो
Hmm.
the competitive research I told you, it's a very good insight for anyone to be added in the branding project. Okay.
Right.
If you want to add that, that is one thing. Apart from that, what was the clear mission, vision, and the personality, tone of voice? What is
Hmm.
the brand positioning? That is very important.
Right,
There
right,
are hundreds of brands out there. Like, for example, Burger King is there, McDonald's is there. What
hmm.
is making Burger King stand out from the McDonald's?
Right,
And brand positioning is a very good designer touch or a strategic touch you can add.
right, right. Okay.
So, in
So,
terms,
sorry to interrupt. I wanted to ask you, even when you add this kind of presentation where you're working on the logo, pictogram, and everything, you also need to go a little bit in depth on the business side of the design,
definitely.
the branding business side. So, these terms, right, I'm familiar with it. With the latest branding project that we did, which was the clothing brand I had an extensive research where I had so many things that I came up with for the hypothetical brief. I had this personal problem ki there was a lot of research on target audience, on competitive analysis, on how brand positioning will work, how it will look in the target audience, etc.
Hmm.
And all of it was put in keywords. None of it was like paragraphs and paragraphs. But when I actually went through it from a third person point of view, all of it felt impactful to me.
Hmm.
So I wasn't able to specifically decide which part I should not include, because all of it made sense in how the brand was created, but to put it all in the showcase was not a feasible thing, right? Because it will be too much to read for the reader.
Yeah.
So when I was adding that, I actually split it into the design part and a business part for the same project. So in a very basic term, if you have an idea of a mind that you want every project in your website to branding project to have a similar consistency, like
Hmm.
each project, the way it's displayed doesn't look so different that the reader is loses flow.
Hmm.
So if you have a 10 slide system, let's say, for each branding project, so how much of the space you have available you spend on the business side, and how much on the design part of it, so that the actual, if you approach a company, the HR or the creative director knows ki you are good at both.
So the balance can also be thought of in a way कि जैसे इनिशियल हमने बोला कि ब्रांड का skeleton क्या है, ठीक है,
Right.
वो हमने कर दिया.
Hmm.
And as you mentioned, you haven't added it in a paragraph. A simple short para or a one liner can do, but
Yeah.
adding all those things, it actually makes me as a user or audience think that you have thought this through. So that's
Right. Okay.
one thing that definitely stands out what we see on the Behance and any other stuff. They're just
Right.
visuals.
Okay.
Also, when it comes to the logo mark or the word mark and everything, people
Hmm.
usually just add the final output. What
Hmm.
was the all the explorations that you have done? That is
Hmm.
also one thing that you can put. So visually,
Okay.
you can see all the visual elements. Okay, you are skillful in terms of
Hmm.
visual design and all, but your
Hmm.
strategic thinking that makes you stand out. Is what I feel.
Okay. Okay.
Another thing, if I just talk about, is who's your audience? Who are you sending this particular project to?
Right.
Is
Right.
it a hiring manager? Is it a visual designer? Or is it just another peer that wants to take a look at your screen?
Right.
All these things matter when it comes to what to add and what doesn't. And
Right. Right.
then at the end, if you wanna add a little bit of touch to the marketing side as well, it
Hmm.
helps a big time. So you mentioned mockups. Later
Hmm.
on in the marketing, how you want to stand out, what is the tone of voice? You can also create some of the templates for the social media
Yeah.
posts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
People usually
Got
do
it.
that for the website, but as a brand, like as a brand designers, we should
Right.
also think of its presence everywhere, not just a
Right.
product.
Right. Right. Definitely. Okay. Got it.
And also, you can add this one more thing in competitive analysis: what
Hmm.
others are doing and what they are lacking, which we are solving.
Right.
So all this
Okay.
kind of problem solving stuff also comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also has
Definitely.
a brand positioning too, if you take a look at it.
Right. Once, if we get free time, I'd like to contact you regarding the research part of the clothing brand project that I did. It's
Mhm.
pretty extensive, and I'd like to get your insight on that as well. It's
Yeah,
not on Behance right now. It was completely behind the scenes kind of thing. But I'd ask you about it another time,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
We can get on a call.
Great. Great. Okay.
All right. I guess we have covered most of the points which you can also apply in some of the projects here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want anything or talk about anything?
No, right now I'm pretty clear with what you said. I had two questions regarding what specifically you think my scope of improvement is. And I don't mean like singular mistakes, I mean in general what I could do better in.
Yeah.
and what kind of discipline or domain you think I should head to.
Okay.
It's not like a 100% lock kind of answer, but your
Right.
insight would obviously help me make choices.
So, first question, okay? So, in terms
Hmm.
of general feedback, like where you can improve and all, so
Yeah.
I feel your thought process or, your reasoning behind why you did this is very strong. And another thing which you can do is improve on how to communicate that, because we are
Right.
visual communication students, right? We're gonna also do this whole visual communication full time. So, how to
Right.
communicate that part is something that I would really like to see in your designs.
Okay.
Okay. And it
Hmm.
should be seen. It shouldn't be like you're getting on a call and like explaining. Because
Yeah.
later on, when you work with the client, they won't ask you to explain it to every single user. They'll just reject
Right.
it away. And
Right.
when it comes to clients, you may not get like a as detailed feedback as you want.
Right.
Because also, we as a designer, we should know what exactly works, what doesn't.
Right.
So
Got
even
it.
in your portfolio, I feel like you should add more of a work that actually talks about your communication skills as a visual designer.
Okay.
And if this particular coffee table book is your passion project, maybe you can just add it as a passion project,
Yeah. Yeah.
because people judge or maybe give their opinions based on what they see. They won't think, okay,
Right.
this was a passion project, this is a profession.
Right.
So this one thing. And
Hmm.
apart from that, like if you feel like you are more inclined towards publication, you
Hmm.
can go ahead in that direction. But I
Hmm.
feel the brand design is a very good core that you can develop and
Hmm.
move forward to the publication, because publication is never going to be just publication. It is backed up with a very solid brand that we're creating.
Right.
So if you want to go in publication, I think you should also polish a lot in brand design.
Branding.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. And would actually working more on packaging, not just academically, but with personal projects and everything, would it be a beneficial pair up with publication design and branding so as to get better internships?
definitely. Like if you're looking for such projects which are heavy on the packaging, but if you're looking for some companies who are heavy on the digital, packaging
Hmm.
will be a plus point. It might not be one of the.
Necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So depends on where do you want to focus. Like, do you see a lot of scope out there for a publication designer or a print media designer? That
Right.
also depends on what you want to do. So,
Right. Right.
and I
Okay.
feel you're in your third year, so you can explore like both of them. Like, do you do some internships in digital as well and then print as well, and see
Hmm.
which one you feel better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Great.
Also, in third year, if you are looking for any internships and all, you
Hmm.
can let us know. Even if you wanna
Yeah.
like, yes, we have that form, na? Like if she wants to join like anytime she feels like, we can also
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I'll forward on the form.
yeah.
Great. Is do you guys work on project to project basis, hourly basis? What system do you guys have?
So we work on the project to project basis, but
Okay.
currently we're mainly focusing on the Evolve project, which you're aware of, right? The Evolve community we are building. And also there
Right.
is a lot of pipeline that we have thought of. There's a big
Okay.
vision for Evolve as well. So there
Great.
we are looking for good brand designers who are also learning and helping us.
Right.
So if you wanna apply or just see like how things are going and all.
Great, great. I was thinking more of on I found some internships or kind of volunteer projects which were connected to marketing, event management,
Mhm.
and community building essentially. But through some other volunteering experiences, I am more now inclined towards design internships
Mhm.
exactly, not event management
Yeah.
internships. So currently I have extremely hectic schedule with the academic things that are going on. But as soon as I get even a little bit of breathing space, I'll immediately let you know and I'll get back to you.
You'll get that design internship experience, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. That is great. And genuinely thank you for your feedback because it means a lot personally also and professionally also because the amount of students we have in our class, it's rare to get personalized feedback. And in even especially in learning stages like this, it is what matters more. Like obviously in a job, no one is going to give you so much feedback or help
Yeah.
you improve on stuff and everything. But it genuinely means a lot. So thank you, both of you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
See you soon.
All right, that's a wrap for today's portfolio review. By the way, if you're sitting there thinking, maybe my work needs this too, then drop it in the Evolve community because that's literally where we find these works. And if you are liking this kind of honest feedback, then you already know what to do. Keep hanging out with us here. Cause this is not the last glow up session.